Alright everyone, so we have ICEBOX today, one of the banes of many duelists' existence. They desperately hate this map, and the reason being is that this is a map that actually is quite difficult to scale up on. You look at sites like A, for example, all the random angles people can be playing in and lurk into, it can be really painful to be able to work with that kind of a map. So this is a map that actually requires Sova. It needs to be. It's like a guarantee you must have Sova, just because of the drone, because of the dart, and the ability to be able to clear out all these angles to make it easier for you to scale. And when you think about A site, for example, which I'm sure we're going to see quite a bit of, and this is going to be one of the bigger challenges that woohoojin's probably going to run into, you think about the defensive setup and how the Viper usually will set up a wall somewhere around these lines right here, where they're able to put a wall up here. The reason why this wall is thrown is because they want to be staging, and they want to be doing a push-pull. So a lot of the times, this wall ends up being a bane for a lot of duelists, entry duelists specifically's existence, because it separates the effectiveness of their space taking. So when a good Viper throws that wall up at the right times, you'll see big issues, especially in this situation with RAZE, where RAZE will satchel in, but then get separated from the team. So it's going to be questionable on how woohoojin will need to deal with this. If we look back on some of the videos that we've done before with Sunset, for example, we talked about the same issue that woohoojin was having with his spacing with his teammates. So the question is how does woohoojin adapt to that same problem he had in Sunset for ICEBOX? Will there be an adaptation? Will he be able to learn from those things? Let's take a look. So just as we talked about, one of the biggest issues that we have with RAZE is that space problem. Now, the interesting thing that we have here is that the comp seems to be connecting three of the entry duelists, the three major entry duelists you see, which is Chet, Neon, and RAZE. So because of that, one of the concerns that we did have was that spacing issue, but we might actually see that not being so much of a problem with an attack comp like this, a very divey attack forward comp. The one problem that we will see is is there going to be trades off of those compositions, off of these kinds of things, and who will take the lead when it comes to coming to the site? Will there be value off of the entry? Or will it be a massive bait fest? This could be either really good or really bad fast, but I'm excited to see how it turns out. Luckily, we do have the Sova on this comp, which is great. The one thing that I do notice with this comp, which is going to be a weakness, and this is something that I always talk about with every student, you need to monitor which ones are the weaknesses or what things are going to be the weaknesses in the comp. If you look at the comp right now, compared to this comp, one strength that this comp has is better flank control. So another weakness that we need to worry about with this particular comp is that we're going to be very forward in our aggression, but that leaves a big hole in the flank early on. So if this team is really smart, they're going to start abusing flank right away, taking control of mid, and being very aggressive early on the spots where we end up dumping most utility to be able to aggress into the site. The other problem that we're going to see is site holds. Really, the only person who can site hold in a post plant is going to be Viper using the orb properly, her ult, all these different things. So the aggression is going to be great moving into the site in theory, but what happens after the site takes? So there's a lot of weaknesses in this comp, but if it's played properly and you scale slowly and use Sova Drone, there could be an element for success here. Let's see how it's played.
Fast away. Fast away.
I'm out of here.
I'm gonna try to like satchel towards Raptors.
Okay, so starting off, buying two satchels, clearly wants to take space aggressively. I'm not sure how deep he is into his grind on this day, how he's feeling mentally. I think he's about 4 games in, so at this point he's probably feeling a little bit tired. So execution is going to be something that we want to look at. I am so happy that he's announcing right away, starting off strong, what he's going to do, how he's going to path. That gives full clarity to his entire team so they know exactly how to react off him. The one thing that this is a problem for, again, is that the spacing will be an issue, and Sova is a more slow agent that needs to get to the position in order to get use of that drone. So it'll be interesting to see how he enters here. I'm glad that he's announced it, and it could work because of the aggression with Jet and Neon as well. Full reveal. So right away, we know that there's 2 to 3, or they have identified there's 2 to 3 on A attacking. So we're already seeing a rotation at this point, so we're going to be looking at probably 3 on A right now.
Maze one.
One revealed. Satchel's coming in. Ooh, a little bit of a mistake. And here's the problem I was talking about. So the drone is so far back that the drone cannot get the full value of clearing out Maze, 410, generator right here, get an idea of what's going on behind the back site. And because they're so far back behind this wall, woohoojin's probably not going to get traded here. Let's see how it goes. And there's the issue right there. So again, if you look, it's hard to see right now because the minimap is back, but they've actually waited out the wall while woohoojin has gone forward. So you can see there's already a displacement in the value that woohoojin's trying to get off of this space take right here.
Oh, I got blasted. 3 here, 3 here.
There's 3. We could just leave.
And there's a call for the 3 right away. So again, that dart right away causes an effect. Cause and effect. You want to think about in your own ranked games, what does this message send to the enemy team? If we see 3 towards A right away, they're probably thinking it's an A rush. Let's stack that spot. So this could actually be used to your advantage. When you do get scanned, sometimes I'll even intentionally get scanned in order to pull rotations or antagonize, as we talked about in lurking in previous games, and use that as an advantage to be able to hit the opposite site. So think about those things. There's different options that you can use and things that you can take advantage of.
Gamer said 50.
Yes. I want to get my nade into this area.
This is a read for the previous round, knowing where they were playing. Luckily, we did end up winning that last pistol, so we have a pretty good read as to where they like to play on A sites. This is why he's putting this nade in this direction, I would assume. The one thing I'd be concerned about is the aggressive play here. So where does the dart end up going? Dart is clearing close. This is so important. Whenever you're playing against an eco, there's typically 2 strategies you're going to see. The stack or the aggression. This dart right here helps clear out the aggression, so we don't have to worry about an aggro play through A main, and that clears out any kind of threat for that. Now the next step is going to be having Soba drone up to be able to clear this out. Otherwise, woohoojin might be heading into a stack here. You know, there's a Marshall, one down there. There's at least another one on site, satcheling through. And again, the same issue that we're seeing from the last round. So the satcheling is all fine and good, but the problem is until he has layered the Sova drone, or he's called out 3, 2, 1, I'm going in, nobody can actually trade off of woohoojin right here. So easily falling apart to a shotgun, and now his team is just falling apart altogether. And unfortunately, that's off the back of his satchel play right here. His lack of communication, as we talked about in action comms, and his unwillingness to wait a few more seconds for Sova to stage a drone into sight. Notice how early we've hit this bomb site. Again, we fall into these traps as ranked players where we feel as soon as we get into sight or we're at that staging ground, we have to go in, we have to get the bomb done right away. You have so much time to be able to work with this. And this is something that woohoojin definitely needs to work on as he's going forward with his entries.
Bro. I think they just had a Marshall.
Yeah, we can't just pull W key. They're full stack.
That's insane.
Once we got this one here, we were okay.
Go.
Even if we do have advantage on them.
That's default.
Yeah, slow it down.
There's the comment. Gotta slow it down. 100% gotta slow it down. And here's the thing. He doesn't necessarily need to be the entry in this comp. You have Neon, who's a strong entry as well, and Jet can also be a strong entry. 3 entries. So you can actually lurk on this comp. This actually gives you a little bit more freedom. So woohoojin, if you like to lurk, I want to see more of that. Totally fine.
Too long right now. Yo, can you guys turn around?
Yeah.
Hearing rotations, calling for it.
I
So
see
this
one
actually,
snowman. Fuck, there's
so he actually did a really good job here in terms of calling out the rotations. This was a little bit unlucky that the Reyna stuck around, but you can see one thing. There's a tendency or there's a tell here. Right away, as soon as we show any kind of presence towards A, we're garnering a rotation right away. So he was able to take all this space, hear the auditory cues from B orange, and assume that B was going to be completely open. So that's what made him allowed him to have the thought process to move up here. Unfortunately, got caught by the Reyna here, but you can see the one major benefit or one piece of information is that they're over rotating really quickly, so we can take full advantage of that in future rounds.
right here.
Enemy spotted A.
You can push
101
up B.
chamber.
100 right now.
Last player standing. Flawless.
When Reyna gets started, it's hard to stop her. I'd like to avoid that, please.
How do we get our mojo back?
You never lost it. It just started. Game just started. Don't give up on yourself. We talk so much about how the mental is such a big piece in this game. And here's one major factor. When you're at this level, in any level, really, in any kind of sport, I believe personally, at least for Valorant anyway, Valorant is a game that's won from the inside out. And it's all about the mental. It's all about who is able to maintain their sanity throughout the whole process. Those people usually are the ones that end up on top. And this is no different for woohoojin.
Do we want to work like a mid lurk with it?
Let's
Yeah, this
start
guy
this party.
Sure.
does not have the wall. Holy fuck.
I'm gonna up jump.
Go, go, go.
Deploying drone.
I dropped the spike.
Enemy mark.
I have
Enemy
the spike.
spotted B.
Grenade.
I think
We
he's
should be
stunned.
boom-botting this so he doesn't repeak us.
Area.
What's inside? There's the repeak. That one, unfortunately, is on woohoojin. So that neon died because there was no boom bot here. It does play a factor. Some might think I'm reading into this too much, but it was almost like an inclining, like a feeling that I need to do that to lock down this area so he doesn't aggress. On top of that too, we just saw in the last round, Reyna likes to be aggressive and just peek things en masse. Reynas in general will do this, as we all know in our ranked experiences. So this was one of the things that he could have done. So the question is, why are you holding on to this boom bot? What's your plan? What are you planning on using on it at all? And if you die right here, then I'm questioning, why did you even get it in the first place? What was the whole reason?
How?
And there we go.
How? How is she full health, dude?
Spike down B.
The one comment woohoojin made there is actually important to talk about. When we're talking about the mental, which we did in the last video, you kind of got to let the events unfold around you.
My fault. I thought
And just remember that the events or the bad things that happen to you don't happen to you, they happen for you. There's a lot of things you can learn from every single round, and as long as you keep an open mind, you'll always have that growth mindset and find that answer.
Oh wait, I have a solo. Wait, never mind.
you're so yeah, no,
I'm
you
brain dead.
recon them. I thought they thought after our neon storm we did at least like 40.
Nice shot. Great bounce back here.
Satchel out.
So important if you're on defense. You know, I talk about this a lot. When you're playing on ICEBOX, if you're on defense and you have someone that wants to be aggressive, and this should be called out early on into the
I
round,
thought they,
someone needs to break that dark. I know how basic this sounds for a lot of you guys, but it's often overlooked in lower rank, and this is definitely on the teammate. But it's also on the Jet to be communicating what the intention is on this round, and this makes it so easy for woohoojin just to easily capitalize on a mistake.
Jet's
Good
grounded.
pick. We don't have to go crazy.
Satchel out.
Pick them out. I have journal. Let me jump to it.
Grenade.
Nade goes in the back corner. All right, so now the Sova drone is going forward, which is great. And woohoojin's starting to slow down a little bit. So this is showing some level of adaptation here, which is great to see.
3-3. Reyna chamber Sova. Here, Viper.
Going for a lurk flank, or he's going to rotate early.
Screens.
This is good. They're reading the tendency. As soon as you show presence, and this is a big pick already, they rotate hard. So we could expect that someone could be pushed out here on B main.
Well, 1 minute.
Because remember, flank was going to be a big issue as well on this comp. So no flank. But sooner or later, I can imagine that this defensive team, especially with the way Reyna's playing, Reyna's going to full send into our spawn eventually. Mark my words on that one. I'm predicting it early.
So just plant B.
This is a round where you could go for... Never mind. I was going to say you could go for a Viper ult here. Unfortunately, Chamber just took out our Viper over towards A. That's unfortunate. Now, if I'm Viper over here in this situation, Viper could have ulted into the site, and that would have pulled further attention, which would have made it easier for our B players. Or if Viper decided to come with us there, ulting into the site would have been totally fine because we are on a half buy / eco here. So getting any value off that ult, forcing close range fights, that's all good for us to be using the ult in this situation. So let's just get the bomb down. There's a boom bot, love it. Totally okay with this boom bot. Could have waited a little bit longer on it, but that's a nitpick.
I'm trying to cross the yellow with you, Jet, so I can play your rifle.
You wanna wait, right? And
Reloading.
they're on.
This is a problem.
So we gotta speed up. Not on.
There we go. Good.
Still not out.
I'll give
Player
so.
standing. One
Nice.
enemy remaining.
He's gonna fake
Hear him on the
this.
right.
He's gonna fake that.
It's fake.
He
off,
moved.
off.
He moved.
He said 100 2 times.
He's gonna push.
Nice.
Okay. How did I know he's gonna push? That was his only choice. I think we end up winning this on time, unless he halved it. But that was really his only choice at that much time because he didn't tap. So the audio cue of not tapping, there's only one move he could have made, and that means he's walking up and ready to explode on us. So when that happens, again, we need to think about how do we play time. We can create an extra 1 to 2 seconds potentially by just hugging the wall. I know it sounds simple, but these are the differences between winning and losing a round a lot of times. I think we're okay on this round. We'll find out in a second. But if you lose on 0.01 or whatever it is, that's on you. And all it needed to be was one press of the D key to the right, and that would have made the difference. So let's see what the time is like. We should be okay.
He said 100 2 times.
Let's see if they were halved.
Still got it.
I doubt he's got it. It's not half. So there we go. So it ends up being okay here. But again, for everyone else who's playing in comp regularly, play the time. Increase the amount of time burnt on that clock, and you're going to increase your chances and your results of winning rounds.
Nah. I got ego. I got rocket.
Okay, so our first time getting rocket here. He is going to be going towards B, which is cool. I was worried he might go towards A and then overheat like he has in the last few entries. So he is going to go towards A. Okay, so let's see if he can control himself. Because ultimately, think of the RAZE ult, and I haven't talked about this a lot, which is great, but think of the RAZE ult as a deterrent. We are deterring the enemy team from going to certain areas, right? It's a fear response. Whenever you pop the ult, what are they going to do? Cause an effect again, right? Obviously, they're going to back off. A lot of times, they'll end up tucking themselves. So if they end up tucking themselves, then it's a freebie for you, but you can easily scale up into the site. And this, again, is a bomb site that you don't necessarily need to double satchel into either, because you don't want to separate yourself off from your team with the Viper wall. So walking up towards 410 Maze Pipes area, and then popping the ult here, forcing them back for a few seconds, then you start scaling up together as a group. And that would be a guaranteed value trade, and you're also guaranteed to get into the site. Now, we can also back that up with an ult with Viper to lock down the round. That would be the best call, in my opinion, based on what we've got, but let's see how they play it out.
I fucked up. My bad. My game froze.
Good push up here because we had no dart. Oh my goodness.
Can cross the line.
All of that conversation and that happens. That's unfortunate. So this one here, again, very easy to scale up on this situation. There's two things that we need to talk about. One that I obviously overlooked, and sometimes this will happen even to me, but we want to be as tight to this wall as we possibly can. I think he was on a line that was able to see it, but hard to say. So typically if you hug this wall right here, you won't get hit by the op. Now, the other factor here is we always need to be looking at the finances. Where are they at financially? Whenever you start a round, press tab and take a look at the threats. right? Right away, you can see everyone can afford an op. And op is a very, very high chance, especially on this comp, because of Chamber Ult and because of Jet. So on this map, playing defense with an op is almost near essential, considering all the long pathways and sight lines that you can be using it on. It is like guaranteed, as we've talked about in the last game, the Elo cannon, as coined by woohoojin. As coined by woohoojin.
Oh, I thought we can cross the line. Not right. They were dead.
Viper.
Like dead.
One enemy remaining.
One down.
Last player
Oh,
standing.
heaven.
Helping.
Ping it, ping it.
It's not planted for you.
Oh, I thought it was planted for me.
A bow and arrow is old-fashioned.
Yeah, not sure you thought that.
Sometimes old ways are best. A bow and arrow is old-fashioned.
Yeah, not sure you thought that.
Sometimes old ways are best.
Just say that in person.
A bow and arrow is old-fashioned.
Yeah, not sure you thought that.
Sometimes
Fuck. All right. We gotta talk about it.
It's not planted for you.
Yeah, what the fuck's he
Oh,
doing?
sorry.
Clutch.
Oh, I thought it was planted for me.
a bow and arrow is old-fashioned.
Yeah, not sure you thought that.
Sometimes old.
What does that line of speech do for you? What value do you get from that? Right? We're already losing the game. Sova makes a mistake, very clearly knows that he's in the wrong, and now we're digging into him a little bit further. Does that help us? Or does it pull and detract from us? You need to evaluate the words that you say. Is it worth saying? Is it even worth saying to yourself? Is this something that we should save for reflection afterward when we're not emotionally involved? These are all questions that should be in woohoojin's head right now.
Ways are best.
Wow.
If we have sight, always.
Nah, it's my bad. I thought we'd went past the gen line, so I figured they weren't on gen. I was wrong. I think I died to the op for free.
Okay.
Yeah, I still have rocket.
There. Move.
Good bomb collector.
Their chamber is up.
I'm droning.
You want to play? Let's play.
Give me some spike.
He's already
Spike down. Attacker spawn.
Nice.
Good try.
But there's Vandal.
Okay, love this.
If we don't have bomb, we don't have bomb.
Bomb is not here though.
Do they have
So we
sight?
could go towards Snowman and challenge another fight here if we
Jet
wanted to. I don't mind this. This is okay.
I'm in
Perfect.
kitchen.
They're not going to
We have
expect
a
this
lot of
because they're
time.
thinking that it's going to
We
be
have
a
lot of time.
plant.
Play slow.
Oh, they have the bomb control. Oh, this is unfortunate. It was actually something I was questioning at the beginning of the round because woohoojin left the bomb behind. So I didn't hear the comm. Maybe they were thinking they're going to go back towards A and that was the plan the whole way along. But that was one of the questions I had in my mind. Was like, what were they planning on doing here? So now they're going to be in a difficult position dealing with this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to bait for you.
Yep. Are they pushing you?
No.
Jet has op.
Joe was right here.
Jet was here.
Sova
Jet
was
there too.
running up garage.
Totally on the left for sure, right? On the ramp.
This
Kill
has
the
to be.
jet.
This has to be.
Kill the jet. You could kill the jet.
No, they're holding me.
Give me a sec. Give me a sec.
Yeah.
Or peek.
30 seconds left. One enemy
Nice.
remaining.
Grounded.
Last
Great coordination
player
here.
standing.
I have the spike.
24.
Nice.
Nice.
Well played,
Ends up
Rick.
cleaning it up. 24 seconds could have went to the bomb as well if they wanted to, if he wanted to, and that's totally fine. He ends up taking the 1v1, wins it
Good
out.
top.
Love it.
Good top.
Oh,
It's gone.
that's
I
unfortunate.
dropped my vandal. Yeah, you can have it. I'll buy another.
So we're getting some decent value on this attacker side considering the comp. And
have op money.
we're starting to see that the enemy team is willing to start pushing up because of the lack of the sentinel. And that gave away the bomb that last round. So again, something to be watching out for.
Orb mid.
I've been doing that.
Biggie, Sova.
Gotta go.
I'll break dart. I'll break dart.
Revealing area. There they are.
In that.
No.
Take flight.
We need to look at that. Why weren't we ready to shoot again?
Revealing area. There they are.
Why the quick switch? I see this so commonly with so many students. What's the reasoning? Is the thought process, I need to move as quickly as I possibly can to get on the site? If that's the case, we're still falling into the same habit of, I need to be on the site as soon as possible, as soon as the round starts, when we don't really need to be. There's only been 4 seconds expired into the round. So where is the mental behind pulling the knives here? Is it to make a jump to get up here? Could you not just have your gun out to do that? Again, where does this come from?
In that.
Take flight.
Come back B, come back B.
Yo, Viper, we're falling back.
Spike carrier's down.
What the fuck?
Spike down A.
One jail.
One pipes.
Sure they didn't know you're here. No?
Wait, chill, wait for me, wait for me, wait for
Last
me.
player standing.
Oh my god.
I hit jet 101. Man, I didn't follow the call. Man, our Viper didn't follow the call.
Why don't we just leave? We're like full committing and I have mid scopes.
Yeah, we were a bit slow to leave, and they
over, you
peeked
know.
aggressively and shot Viper in the back.
Yeah, I was holding that the entire time. And then I started backing up and I got shot.
I think their B is just weak, consistently.
Yo, woohoojin.
If we just contact out B, I can just satchel
There.
top set.
Kill them.
I don't have a drone.
Revealing area.
Starting back.
Gotta go.
Welcome to my
Satchel
world.
out. Satchel out.
Top down.
Excellent satchel. Excellent movement forward. Great value on this one. Again, the one thing is the spacing between all the teammates. And did we action comm that we were going to do that right away? Didn't seem like it.
Yo, woohoojin.
If we just contact out B, I can just satchel
There.
top set.
Kill them.
Okay, we did action comm this.
I don't have a drone. Yo, woohoojin.
If we just contact out B, I can just satchel
There.
top set.
I love this. Okay, so again, we've covered this before in previous games. Contact means we explode upon contact of the enemy team. So as soon as they see us, we go in hard and fast. Now, what this is going to do, let's say we don't take contact, this is going to set up a perfect staging ground for our RAZE double satchel. So we now have closer space, so we get more value and more likelihood of a trade going off if he decides to satchel into upper sight. Now, this is something that I do as a duelist as well. Getting into upper sight is a very powerful piece. You can do this with Jet. You can do it with RAZE very, very well. And it's oftentimes going to pull crosshair placements and allow for more space to be taken by your teammates.
Kill them.
Locking up.
I don't have a
Standard
drone.
wall here.
Revealing area.
Starting back.
Okay, so right away, Sova is not doing the contact play. So that kind of threw everything off. Now we have contact, now we have to move forward fast.
Welcome to my
Even at this level, people seem to keep making these mistakes with contact plays and not really fully understanding what's supposed to be happening.
Satchel out. Satchel out.
Ooh, perfectly dodges the op shot. This is great.
Down.
And 2 great entries here. Taking full advantage of the operator and spacing in there.
Dude, one
Plan down out. Unfortunately taken out by a double crossfire up
Spike
top.
down B.
One more top.
I would give this round a big check mark for woohoojin. Did his job, got his space, Unfortunately, left it in a 2v2 situation, but it's in a winnable spot for his team right now.
Silver Snowman.
Last player standing.
Wow. They're so fast to rotate.
And the identification finally comes in. This is great. I believe that they knew, or he knew that was the case.
So fast.
So how do you deal with a fast rotation? One thing, mid control. We need a challenge for mid control. Make that a threat. We've seen woohoojin use the op before. You have 2 more entries or 2 entry frag characters that can take the lead, and it doesn't necessarily have to be you. Why don't we get you opping towards mid, challenge Boiler a little bit, maybe challenge the inner 2, challenge underneath. Ask for Viper Orb to be put a little bit deeper, challenge these areas here, and make it a threat so that we don't see this easy rotation coming through here to flood you on any of the bomb sites. We need to see more 4-1 splits here going forward.
They will die, hopeless and afraid.
I should probably just start spraying kitchen, dude. Like, I knew they'd come.
Yo, what are we doing wrong here? Just not winning our fights?
They're just rotating fast. I think make noise and come be even faster.
This is a strategy that you could do. So again, antagonizing, make noise over here. woohoojin's trying to take a staging ground space so that they can come over and rotate. So this can totally work. The problem is, again, you don't have a sentinel, and that freely allows for aggressive play towards middle as you're seeing, and aggressive play towards B. So now it's already been called that they're going towards B at this point. Now there's been 2-3 people revealed, so the rotation should already be coming in through middle, which Reyna's already there. And Chamber's here. So now you're looking at 2 people on B already, with a third one probably coming through kitchen in 3, 2, 1. Kitchen peek? Probably real close to kitchen.
Player standing.
And there's a chamber, and the kitchen peek or snowman peek should be in a few seconds here. Unless they flanked. Oh, there you go. So again, a lot of elements here. Talking about the lack of sentinel on our team, the ability for them to flank, and the mid control that they're getting right here is excellent, which is easily being allowed to, or allowing the defensive team to quickly rotate and counter what they're doing. So yes, there is legitimate thought process here where you send out information that we're going towards A, and then they'll rotate fast, and then you can go the other way. But the big problem that we have here is the sentinel, the ability to control this mid path and collect all the information so that they can easily rotate again off of your fake. So the fake is just not enough. We need to be challenging this space here.
What the hell?
My advice, don't get shot. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I don't get it either. It's like we rush A and Viper's A.
To be honest, I think we just run down A like as fast as we
I
can.
bet.
You could do that. The problem is, again, the spacing, how we're going to do it. So we are buying a shotgun, a judge here, 2 shotguns. So that means we're probably both teams, or both people here, Neon and RAZE, are probably thinking, let's full send right now, get through it. Forget the wall, and don't worry about the trades, let's just outskill them. This could work. But again, it's tough, because if you don't get the kill, you're not fully getting as much value as you could. Because there's guaranteed no trade off of it. The rotation should be coming in fast. Oh, the aggressive play right here. Was there a lack of a dart? Did we miss the dart here? One small lapse of judgment from Sova can cost you an entire round here. The dart is landed and broken instantly, and we see them. So they are scanned. But now it's just a matter of lack of execution on woohoojin's part.
Dude, right side, right side.
Are you kidding me?
Great time to be aggressive if you're the defending team here, actually. Quite impressive.
Coming through.
A.
Holy fuck.
And this right here is why a lot of players hate playing ICEBOX, and some players call it the worst map in the game.
Nobody called
The
play.
only
round
legitimate
before the
change
switch.
that Riot's made to the map was middle, and that's it. Let's add a window. The big issue that we need to work on is something needs to change over in A, and still something needs to change over in B. The sites are really the problem. Middle was never the issue, but that was the one thing that Riot changed. Kind of confusing.
With us after this. Go for broke.
I'm one off rocket.
Go, go, go. I'm out of here.
Let's get 4 here. Take the A main orb and I'll rocket out.
Very important 4th round here,
Make that
because
guardian.
playing defense with this comp is going to be near impossible.
No, he's not gonna close range. Hold off.
No sentinels to cover the middle. They're going to be flanked on all different angles. Any kind of rotation is going to be completely abused through any kind of lurking by the enemy team. And that's essentially what you want to do on the attack side, is try to lurk. We did have a little bit of a lurk with Viper over there, but it wasn't enough. And really, ultimately, we should have had more people on this half hitting mid and challenging that space to eliminate the ability to rotate so fast.
Grenade.
There's 2 blink right now. Bombs are
Yeah, 1 raptors, 1 screen.
Bomb buddy out. I'm out of here.
There's an interesting comment you can see over here to the left. Hooj doesn't seem very vocal right now. Is it because he's playing duelist and is focusing on fights in util? Possibly. Definitely that's one of the things that will happen. But I would say that as a duelist, your action comms should be like way up there in priority of what you're doing all the time, because again, you're playing with 4 other people that have never seen you play before. They don't know what you like to do or what your tendencies are. So unless they're on your team, you surely should be saying every action that you could, so that they can be on your ass when you're doing entries and all these other things. So there should really be a lot of conversation. So what's causing the lack of conversation from woohoojin? I would say, again, it's probably this: mental. How are you feeling? Right? There's already been a couple of quotes and things that we've taken from this VOD that kind of tells us that woohoojin's mental is a little bit of in a negative state right now. And that could really be the detriment to a lot of comms and a lot of energy towards wanting to win the game. The way that we need to approach ranked is not thinking about the overall result. Obviously, the results are nice, and being able to get the PNG that we're chasing is really good, but we should be thinking about how do we grow from every experience. And if you grow from every experience, you can never lose, because you're always learning something, right? So what that means is we want to treat every round like it's a brand new game. And that's the best way to be able to continue to get growth from a game. Even the ones that we end up losing can still have value, because you approach it with every round's a brand new game and you're focusing on one individual game at a time, right? Now, this is why we recommend VOD reviewing and recording your gameplays over and over again, because it gives you that ability to look back on a loss, and instead of losing the RR, you invest the RR into your own growth and learning. So I highly recommend all of you, if you aren't recording your games right now, make sure you're doing it. Ask yourself the right questions and try to learn new things actively. The moment you think you've learned everything in this game is the moment you stand still and someone passes you.
There's not this kind of easy defense.
Perfect. We got this shit.
The most important thing for this team to do right now is to get ops in their hands. So that means we need economy on our side.
Fuck this guy. Jump there. I'm gonna.
We need economy on our side, and we need to win this pistol. It is a must. If we can get economy on our side and we get some ops going, there's a chance. But it's going to be really difficult, again, because this lurk will be strong from them. They have 2 agents that, or 3 agents really, that can lurk really effectively on that comp. And with the lack of sentinels, there are so many lines of sight that people can go through. For example, we have 2 towards A right now, 1 towards Boiler, who can spot it, but as soon as that orb goes up in middle, which it always will, now Tube is a problem. And we can see that nobody is currently watching Tube. So how do you respond to that? You got to be actively moving, actively listening, and kind of get lucky.
Enemy spotted A.
There's no
Pushing
nothing
up
B.
there. They're droning.
There's a lurk through middle.
Viper's mid -90. She has a classic. She might have armor.
Now, why does woohoojin die here? Obviously, we can talk about the gunfight not going well, but the one major factor that is interesting to me is his commitment to rotate towards A so early. He's the anchor in the situation, and typically the anchor is the one that rotates the latest. So if anyone's supposed to rotate right now, it should really be Neon, and he should be the last person on the ship. Right? If you think about the ship in the Titanic, the captain's the last one on the ship. He is the captain of the B site. So where could he go? He could shift back towards B Snow. And then after Snowman, once they've confirmed that it is going to be A for sure, that's when he can start rotating this way. All the while, Neon can start shifting towards Boiler to be in a spot to be able to help the 3 players on A site.
Okay. They're droning.
Viper's mid -90. She has a classic. She might have armor.
Last player standing.
One shot, 135.
In one situation, once again, remember, we have to win this pistol round. That's going to hurt. That's going to really hurt because now financially we're not in the right spot. Our real only chance was to get ops in our hands. So now we have to be desperate. This is where, in this round, I would call something aggressive and make it happen. If we don't win this round, it's pretty much GG's at this point.
So unlucky. Like you peeked it, and so I started rotating through mid. And Viper's just like up.
He had orb.
I was after the orb.
Gotta go.
Should we force here or no?
I will.
So they are going to go for the force here. The orb is up. That means they could cross here. woohoojin might be taking a fight in a few seconds here. Conditioning that. The Viper just left. Viper is in B main right now, so that's conditioning for later on. That orb will be thrown there every single round.
Nothing under
as it should be. Now we're in a spot where all these ranges are not really good for woohoojin. He needs to scale. It's too late. Difficult fights right now for woohoojin from this position.
Have an outlaw holding me.
Not looking good. This game's going to be over quick.
Spike planted.
At this point, there's not much that woohoojin can do. He could try to go for a couple frags here, get some damage done.
Last player standing. Flawless.
But it won't be enough.
Go, go, go.
Alright, we bring it back here. 12-11.
What do we do to bring it back?
It's a great question.
These triple duelist games are so hit or miss.
They can be, if they're played
Stinger.
correctly, you can make it work. A lot of times, people will give up or say, let's remake if you see 5 duelists. But really, it's about how do you play those duelists to their potential. Let's say, for example, you have a comp like this. And you have all 5 duelists. Let's say it's going to be RAZE. You might have a Yoru. You have a Jet. This is reminding me of old times. I've done this video a few times now, actually. And this is just going to reinforce the fact that there's more that can be done. And it's not necessarily game over when you have a comp like this. Okay? So, depending on the map, everything can change, obviously. If we're talking about ICEBOX, it's a whole different story. But if we were to choose any other map, you would look at this comp and you would ask yourself, what is my job in this comp? If you were Jet, for example, what is your role? If we're to pick any particular agent to entry, what would be the best ones? The 2 best entries in this comp would be RAZE and Neon. And the reason why is that I would say RAZE is even above Neon because RAZE has no self-enabling utility. The nade obviously can deter people from going places, and obviously the ult is another factor. But RAZE is typically going to be taking the most space the fastest next to Neon, but Neon has the wall, which could actually make Neon an offset controller. Now the other offset controller is your Jet. So Jet's going to be playing a lot more slower in this comp using cloudbursts to assist RAZE to getting to certain spots on the map. And the same thing can be said about Neon with the wall helping RAZE get to certain areas on the map. Now, you have 2 initiators. Again, Yoru can initiate, and so can Reyna at close ranges with the Leer. So in this comp, you actually have 2 controllers, if played properly, 1 entry duelist, and 2 initiators. Now, of course, you don't have the Sentinel, which could be a hole, but if you play aggressively with this comp, you can make it work. And on defense, you also want to be playing aggressively as well. This is a forward-moving comp. Use it to that advantage.
Make some chaos.
These guys are going off.
Now, obviously, it's not the most optimal comp to win on, but you gotta deal, as I've said before, with the cards that are dealt for you, and do the best you can with them.
Saw nothing that. Damn.
Orb of
Enemy
mid.
spotted A. Reloading.
Spike down A.
Spike spotted A.
40 Viper.
Winnable.
Last player standing.
I hit Viper 102. Fuck.
Is what it is. Now on to match point. Again, you can see the finances just were a big factor here. We had to win that pistol to have any chance here. And now we're up shit creek without a paddle.
Their orb went down mid really fast.
Enemy marked.
1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, she killed me.
He's walking down mid.
Silence.
That's not
Come
Reyna,
on.
dude.
Holy fuck.
Toxins going up.
Notice the lurk here. It's so difficult, but you don't have a sentinel to be able to control these lines.
Last player standing.
80 right now. She healed.
Toxin screen down.
Come on, woohoojin.
I thought you were about to.
Spike
How do
planted.
I don't want to play with this fucker. Like, I'm using a voice changer, dude. Even if you recognize it's me, don't say anything.
Toxins going up.
This is actually something that happens. I notice when I play my 10-mans, if I join onto a team, a lot of my teammates get a little bit scared to play with me. Which is funny because I'm just trash at this game now. But people get scared to play with me, and sometimes they're afraid to play against me too. But it's this fear factor that makes them not want to play well. So I understand where it's coming from him, because as soon as people know it's woohoojin, they're like, oh, it's woohoojin. So it is a factor for sure. So what do we take away from this game? The big factors here is that not every comp is going to be optimal, and it's going to be up to you to be creative enough to make the composition work. Now on defense, we didn't get to see a lot of rounds, unfortunately, but if I were to play that comp on defense, it would be very, very aggressive. I'd be trying to aggressively challenge the chamber trip so that flank is always an option. I would be aggressive through A main, aggressive through B main, trying to find fights, and then building into my operator as soon as I possibly can to control lines. As soon as you have those options and you build into Viper ults and whatnot, you can start funneling the enemy team into certain areas. And it's about really tilting their mental. You get a couple rounds that are cheeky. You have to win a lot more rounds on offense, obviously, to have any chance. And those are really the only options you have. ICEBOX is a very lurky map, and one of the major advantages that we had as a RAZE here was that we didn't necessarily have to be the entry fragger in the comp. We could have been lurking towards mid. We could have been controlling that rotation. So the bigger factors here is understanding what the enemy team is doing, how best to counter them with what we've got, and be able to generate a win condition off of that. A lot of really good things in this video, and we only had 16 rounds played. So just because a game doesn't necessarily go your way right away, or have the best result or the worst amount of rounds put against you, there's always something to be learned. And that's what's so exciting about this game. There's so many ways to play it, And it's just awesome to be able to read into new ways of playing and adapt and get better as a player altogether. I have to say again, it's awesome to watch this series. I'm excited to see where it goes next. Thank you for watching.